Hey there, party people! Back with another tier list. This time we are going to Archer Servants, and unlike last time, I feel confident that I can actually articulate more about at least most of these characters than I could with the Lancer ones. As before, I'm doing a singular tier list for every servant class, lumping extra classes all together, and then at the end, I'm going to have one big video for all of the EX and above rank ones, and if you want to know about above, just check out my last video, you'll see what I mean immediately. But enough how to do, let's go with the first one, and it's hard, because part of with Emiya, or Nameless if you prefer, he has so much overexposure. It's similar to the Ku problem, where it's just like, fundamentally, they aren't bad characters, but I see too much of them, which also kind of makes it sour, where it's just like they don't use Original Saber because, quote-unquote, her story's over, but they keep using Ku and, yeah, and Emiya. It feels like a double standard, honestly. But I'm going to be fair and put in the B tier, because again, he's a good character. I do enjoy him. But there's also just too much of him. It's like I don't like him enough where I'm okay seeing him every other event. Gilgamesh, glorious golden bitch. He has such a wild array of characterization. His range, as just an archer, not even factoring in, Caster Gil. Archer Gil has such a range. In some, he's just high incel energy. In some, he is just complete badass. Unadulterated badass, that's the word I was looking for. So I have to put him into B just for that range, because sometimes I love him, he's EX. Other times I want to burn him. So he goes in the middle, and I'll give him like the higher edge of middle, because I feel like he is good more often than he isn't. I know in CCC, he's apparently a really good character. I haven't fully experienced CCC myself yet, so I can't say much about that. But I do know he is more good character than he is a bad character. In terms of quality, not... He's usually an asshole. Now, Robin Hood. Unfortunately, he's going into D tier. And that's largely because of a pet peeve I have with Robin Hood characters. They have been consistently on the dark and dour side. Even this one, like, even though he's not as grimdark as some have been, he is still way too melancholy for me. I want Robin Hood, Robin of Locksley, merry men, green tights, Errol Flynn. That's the kind of Robin Hood I picture when I hear Robin Hood. And I am tired of all these not merry men type Robin Hoods that have been coming out for the past several years. I want to go back to the happy-go-lucky kind of Robin Hood. Hell, even DC Comics, CW, did this with their Robin Hood character, the Green Arrow. He was very much an Errol Flynn type of character in the comics, and then that live-action TV show, they made him Batman. So, really, just this Robin Hood is a victim of just a very long trail of a trend that I don't care for. I'm not going to put him into burn for that, but he can't be above D. because I just hate the trend. There's a dog barking outside. Now, Atalanta, it's weird because on one hand I want to say, what does she do? But then I think of Apocrypha, which is a strange thing to do from time to time. And she was pretty okay in Apocrypha. I like her arc, and I like her rivalry with Jean. But not enough to put her into a positive end. She's just kind of mid overall. But I do enjoy the moments where she's just like a caretaker kind of character, and that rivalry she has. So it's not all negative, but meh. Uriel. I'm actually gonna put her into D, and that's largely just because of her interactions with Asterios. I think we can all agree that that is a great and fun relationship. Stheno will not have that luxury when we get to Assassin. Uriel is quite literally standing on the shoulders of a giant here, bringing her up the B. Arash gets B because Stella and nothing else. I just have no relation to him. It's like, I know there's like the whole Fate prototype and fragment thing. I know nothing about that storyline, so I have nothing to go on there. So he is quite literally up at B because of that scene from Camelot where he went out like a badass. Orion/Artemis is a mixed bag. This one I'm going to factor in as just more Artemis than Orion. Like, obviously Orion's going to factor into this character because he is the main servant here. But Artemis is the face, though it's very hard to look up at it. Let's be real here. They'll go into C. They'll go into C because I don't hate them. But the gag does get old. It got old after the first event, basically. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say. It's just like, they have one bit, and they run it into the ground. It's been sparsed out enough lately where it's not detrimental for my enjoyment of them. But for the love of God, have them do something different. David, based on pure disappointment, he's going into D. Because there is so much more you could have done with him. And should have done with him. He's Solomon's father. And Solomon was like the main crux of the entire first act of Fate Grand Order. And yeah, they did some things with him. They did not do enough with him. They should have done so much more with David. And they just fumbled that so hard. But you can never fumble Oda Nobunaga. Wow, I messed that up. Oda Nobunaga. She's fantastic. No notes. Just nothing is wrong about this character. I adore her. Because you got the Fate Grand Order, where she's all fun and silly with some moments to her. And then you got Redline, where she's terrifying. Get yourself a woman that can do both. Now, Tesla. C tier. The animosity between him and Edison is always fun to see. There is nothing else to him that I care about. Plain and simple. He also his mullet hair. I can't get over his hair. Why a mullet? Arjuna goes into B. Part of me wants to put into C because that'd be just hilarious since I put Karna into B and I want to cause problems on purpose. But I won't. I'll be good. Yeah, I have really nothing to say about him. It's basically the same thing with Karna. It's just like, good character. I do enjoy them, but also they're kind of there. Same thing with Kid Gil. Kid Gil put him to B because he has fun event moments in Fate Grand Order. I can't speak much for Aprilia because I don't think I've watched that season. No, I definitely haven't watched that season. And before anyone says anything, I'm trying to make it a point to consume all of Fate knowledge into my brain so that I know everything. Maybe not remember it all at once, but just so that I know things, especially since I do a lot of Fate videos. I realistically should know more about Fate than I don't know about Fate. I get no enjoyment out of it. If anything, I get pain. Except from the movies. The movies are good. I'll die on that hill. Oh, Thunder Snow is a great movie. It's also the best version of Shiro. Billy the Kid. I don't dislike you, but I also just don't got anything on you. All I got is a gun. Just like, this is a goddamn revolver. Tristan. Tristan is actually my favorite of the round table so far. I just really like him. And that may also have something to do with the, what if story that I made about what if, Shiki Ryugi was the protagonist of Fate Stay Night, and like the things that would change about that. That video, it's in the iCard now. Go check that out. It was my first big project on the channel. I'm very proud of it. But Tristan replaced Sasuke Kojiro to give Saber more trauma. And so I think that gave me an affinity to him, that he is a character that was involved in my first big project. But even outside of that, in Fate Grand Order, he is such a great and likable character. I definitely just enjoy him more than the others. Not that I don't enjoy the rest of the round table, I very much do. Just Tristan is definitely my favorite. Toe is just a happy guy, so he gets B tier. Summer Artoria or Squitoria gets A tier. Would get EX tier. Would. But they play up her being mean to Mordred a bit too much for my taste. I am fine with the animosity between them because it just makes sense for the characters. But they played it up too much. And it's like so many things where they just could have had something there. Something of substance. But they just decided not to and just fully commit to just the being mean thing. So that knocked down my enjoyment, but at the same time it is basically still normal Artoria, just in unrestrained summer fun mode. There's not really a big character difference between the two. So can't get knocked down too much. Just one rank. Lesbian Pirates, hardcore mode also get A tier, because they're Lesbian Pirates hardcore mode. Now here's the part where I have to, talk a lot. Because, again, Aprilia is trash. That is undeniable. At least mostly trash. Again, there are good parts of it. You just gotta get through the terrible parts to get to the good parts. And Chloe is a fantastic example of that, because there is such bad characterization with this character, but there's also amazing characterization with this character. If you ignore all of the creepy bad nonsense, she is a fantastic character. But because the bad part exists, I can't go up here. But because the good part of it exists, I can't go down here. So I have to decide, is it leaning towards good or leaning towards bad? And that's where I am right now. I'm not gonna make a gag rank for her because it doesn't matter. She's not EX, so she's not gonna pop up later. But I will ultimately say the good outweighs the bad. Maybe I will do a full Aprilia review in the future. God help me if I decide to, where I can go more in depth about like the intricacies of the nonsense that happens and drink away my sorrow for having to see the rest of it. We'll get to that later. For now, we're going to Htlart, who's going to go here for 5 seconds because I want to give a friend of mine a heart attack, and she actually goes here. Htlart amazing because she's 50% Rin Tosaka, which means she's 100% amazing. Because realistically, her and Rin Tosaka, just because of like how they wrote her and how Rin just kind of influenced Htlart so much, she's just a more bratty version of Rin. She's Rin if she was like properly inducted into mage society, basically, just how I picture that. And is still such an amazing character. I love her so much. Moriarty. B. I talk about how much I don't really like Moriarty too much, mostly to my friends, not here much. But I don't really dislike him. He's just kind of meh to me. He doesn't stand out as much as I feel like he does to others. And also, I really hate the hair of his costume. But that's really just a costume, not really anything to his character. It's so weird because I feel like I should like Moriarty more, but I just don't. And oh, I just realized this tier list has the illegal version of Emiya Alter. They changed this in the NA version. Definitely for good reason. I don't think this is okay. But I don't care about the character at all. He is so edgy. He is 5 edgy 3 me. I said those numbers backwards, but I'm sticking with it. Oh god, he is Shadow the Hedgehog if he was a human? And don't get me wrong, tragic backstory, especially with the thing with Taiga that was relatively recently, I think like in the past 6 months, shown, whereas like Taiga was inducted to Kiara's cult, and he had to kill her. Tragic. Love that for its morbidness. I still don't like him. I still do not care about him. But I do care about Helena Blavatsky. Helena is one of my favorite Fate characters because she's so just kind of busted. And they never really go into that. She has canonically at least glimpsed at the root. Not fully seen it or reached it yet. She's not a magician. But it has influenced her, and she can basically master whatever kind of magic she wants and knows so many different kinds. And she also really hates the association. And I love the flavor lore where it's just like, she looks so young and tiny, but even when she's summoned, she's like in her 70s or 80s. This is her when she was 70 or 80. And her explanation for that is just like, I just look like this. And I just kind of love that. I love the kind of explanations that seem lazy and silly just for the reasons of comedy. Because they could have went into like a whole thing. It's like, oh, I use magic in this. Like, it's like, no, I just look like this. That is amazing. I love just overly simplistic explanations like that because they are so hilarious to me. They shouldn't be overdone or overused, but in a series like Fate, where things get so overly complicated and insane, it is so refreshing when something outlandish is just a thing that happened. But now to Moe. I gotta give the gamer girl an A tier. But no, Tomoe is a great character. I do love how she's just so into video games, but even outside of that, she's a fun character. I love the Pagoda event where she was actually able to relate and talk to Shuten as a person. Like, Shuten was actually comfortable enough to talk with Tomoe with minimal guard up. I love that. And it's one of those things that really endears me to Tomoe, especially since I love Shuten so much. Shuten's another one of my favorite characters. So something like that really warms me up to Tomoe. And we are just on a roll with great characters here because we have Attila the Santa, who is the best Santa servant. She basically has a fever the entire time, is just kind of loopy from it, and her noble phantasm is Tactical Nuke Rainbow Sheep, that ba in her voice. If you don't think that is the greatest thing of all time, you are wrong. Now we move to Fujino, who... she's a fun character. She's a great character. I love her story. It's so sad and tragic in Garden of Sinners. But in Fate Grand Order, what does she do? Really nothing. I think she may have popped up twice. And one of those was... wait, did she actually have... I know she sort of popped up in the horror camp summer. But did she do anything, like have like lines and stuff, or did she just kind of be there? I can't remember. It's been so long. But yeah, no. So I do enjoy her character in her original source material, but as far as Fate Grand Order goes, it's just that can't carry her up beyond B. Kieran, Horseman, C tier. Matches his name. He's cool. He's cool. He's definitely cool. But also, you can do all the cool things you want, but you gotta have more personality to you. It's like, I don't really care for him. He feels wooden in certain regards. And that could just be me. That could definitely just be me. It's just like, that's just the vibe I get off of him, is like, I don't fully click with his personality. It's like, yeah, you can do the cool things. You can fight with Achilles and Apocrypha, and that was a cool fight. But personality-wise, I just got really nothing for you. Speaking of personality, Napoleon's got it in spades. I shouldn't like him as much as I do, but I do. Who would go into Fate Grand Order and say, like, oh, there's a Napoleon Bonaparte character? Oh, that's gonna be a thing. And it's like, no, he's a badass. He's awesome. He's Kamina if he was a good character. He has that such human spirit to him to, like, make the impossible possible. Row, fight the power. Everything about that. So, he's great. And again, he's everything I wanted Kamina to be. And everything people think Kamina is, but if you actually pay attention to the show, it's just not. But I'm not gonna go into a tangent. I won't go into a tangent. We're going to Jean, and Jean gets an EX tier. Summer Jean specifically, mostly because of the sister gags. The sister gags are so funny. Her being a big sister and appearing in the sky at least twice now to give sisterly advice. That is peak. That is so funny. That's how you do a gag right, and just like, because it's not always the same delivery. They deliver the gag in different ways, and it's so good. And also the dolphin. The dolphin. William Tell. I don't dislike you enough to go to D, but I also don't care about you at all. You're there. Sure, why not? Yeah, B. I like him. I do like him. That it's nothing, not a dig against him. It's just that I just don't connect with him. But he is cool. I love his, like, armored mask, Kamen Rider nonsense. It's not really Kamen Rider, but you know what I mean. So he's cool, but I just don't fully click with him. I think I need, like, a good event with him in it to really feel him. Paris gets C tier. It's like, I don't... Paris gives me a headache. Because I don't know what to think about him. Because on certain levels I do like him. I think I like 10 skills because of a thing that happened in Atlantis. Or whatever the hell it was. But other than that, I can't really think of liking him. So I don't feel comfortable putting him above C. Because it's like, yeah, there is something I like about him. But what that is, I don't really know. Summer Osaka Hime gets EX tier. Because it's Osaka Hime in Fortnite. That's basically the character. What else do you want from her? And also the whole rivalry with Arashkigal in Fate Grand Carnival. Where she just put on the swimsuit to get more views. Just like, yeah, that'll do it. That'll definitely do it. Calamity Jane goes into B tier because I just don't understand. Why is Calamity Jane... Not really so much why is Calamity Jane a space person, because we do have, like, the Servantverse stuff, but why is our only version of Calamity Jane a space person? What happened to the original one? Why did we skip a step and go into Space Calamity Jane without ever meeting the original? What the hell? Like, she's a fun character, I enjoy her, I love her relationship with Ishtarin, but why? Why was this done? Santa Nightingale gets A tier because I like her event. It felt very Christmassy in the sense that it just like gave me the feels, the warm fuzzies. That was a good event for Christmassy feels. I very much enjoyed that. It probably could have been a Christmas Carol kind of thing, honestly. I'm surprised we haven't had a Christmas Carol event yet. But the way it happened was good. Super Orion, I'll give him A tier. I was going to put him in the B tier, but I like his character. Not shackled to Artemis as much. He gets to shine a bit more and be less of what he is when he's with Artemis. So that's great. I don't care for his physique. I just don't. Anatomically, I just don't think muscles are like that. I just don't. Nagina EX. Because she's just so fun. Everything I was about to say has to do with her berserker self. So I'm going to put her into A tier because she's not far off from her berserker self. Let's be real here. She isn't. She's going back into A tier because I just remembered the times where she nailed Doman in the eye with tangerine juice while he was invisible flawlessly each time. She's a great, fantastic character. No notes. Elia. Summer Elia. I'll put her into A tier because I just like the character. I like Elia's character. She has less bad baggage as Chloe. She's just from the bad series. But she carries less of the baggage that Chloe does. And also, just the art. Her Final Ascension art is so pretty. It is like one of the prettiest Final Ascension arts of all of them. Nobukatsu. B tier. I don't mind the character. I don't mind the trope that he fills. It's kind of like Yuri from Spy Family. So if you enjoy that type of character, this character is up your alley. And I don't mind either character, but I'm not like in love with either character. I'm not crazy about them, but I have fun with them. I like their dynamics, and I like when they show up and have fun. Sith gets into EX tier, and because she's just a great character, she's fun. But you ever really think about how Lost Belt 6 ended? And the last time Fujimaru saw them was just kind of like that, like, kind of weird ambush thing and sent her packing. And then they never saw her again. They never saw what happened to Sith after that. They don't know about the whole being thrown into the pit thing, don't know about the whole rotting away or the backstory or the tragedy of this character. Unlike every other character, where Ritsuka learns about those characters and what they go through and what their past was and what happened to them, Ritsuka never actually learns about Sith. And that, I think, is one of the biggest tragedies of the story. And I'm fine with it. I don't think it's a bad thing to have that happen. It's just so sad. But we're going away from sad now, because we're talking about Anastasia and V, who also gets EX tier, because Anastasia's such a gremlin. It's one of those things who would expect Anastasia to be a gremlin? But here she is, and she is one. I have nothing else to say. It's great. And last one, let me double check the name. Yeah, Zenobia. I just wanted to make sure I pronounced that correctly. This time I actually remembered all the names. Zenobia goes into A tier because I like how she's a straight man. She's a great comedic foil and just a serious character, especially in the event she showed up in. She showed up in Halloween, which was also my favorite Halloween event because they actually treated Liz nice. And she was a contributing factor to that. She was a great straight man for Cinderella to bounce off of. And overall, I just really like the character. I do agree there is problems with how she is summoned and portrayed and stuff like that, given her lore and everything like that. There is a problem there. But as far as the character, overall characterization in Fate Grand Order as a character, I do enjoy it. And I want to see more of her. I want to see more of her straight man routine. But there you have it. This is my Archer Servant tier list for NA as far as everything is. What do you think about it? What are your favorite Archer Servants? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All that fun stuff. I will have the writer one out eventually. Probably February. A lot of things happening. I'm trying to build up videos as much as possible. So look forward to it. And thank you so much for watching. I'm to catch you next time in the void. Later.